Hi guys, Tappy, I hope you're all keeping well. Yeah, another Lotus Emira video. We've already done one on the engine. Which one is best to buy, the i4 or the V6? Obviously the i4, I'm biased. We could also do a video on what colour is best to buy for your Lotus Emira. Just get one you like, it's not that hard. But do bear in mind some colours resell better than others. Topic of this video is probably the most hotly debated topic after the engine, and that is the suspension. Which one to get? Do you go sport or do you go touring? Let's find out. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. That's a McLaren 570. I know. I couldn't get hold of an Emira, and I want to use this to illustrate why I think each version of the Emira suspension has pros and cons. Now, you could also say that the engineering capability and that technology is shared between those few automotive manufacturers that exist in the UK. UK is a tiny country, a population of 480 people, right? So a lot of the tech that goes into Lotus, for example, will go into this. And I've never heard anyone say that the ride on their Lotus, the handling on their Lotus is bad. Indeed, Lotus often parachuted in to fix manufacturers' problems that they might be having with their suspension setups. These guys know what they are doing. They're brilliant at it. So, I want to dig into exactly why I think each version has pros and cons and which version you should be thinking about choosing for your new Lotus Emira. And if you are looking at a Lotus Emira, well done. It's going to be phenomenal. I just know it. I just got a feeling, right? So, two versions of suspension available on your Lotus Emira. Let's not even bother looking at the engine for this one. Two versions of suspension, the Sport and the Touring. First thing to note is when you've chosen one, that's it, you're stuck with it. It's not adjustable suspension. Fixed, unlike this, which has different modes to firm or reduce the damping. The Lotus version you choose is the one you're stuck with. But here's why I think you should go probably for the touring version of the suspension. Now, Lotus don't go into a lot of detail in terms of sport and touring. They just kind of say that touring is a bit more forgiving in terms of the ride quality. And yes, I think that is absolutely going to be the case. Why are you buying your Emira? Probably for use on the road. I would imagine 80% of us are. There's going to be some track bunnies out there that get their Emiras just to track. But most people are going to be using their Emiras on the road. And if you're on the road in the UK, go touring. Simple. Don't get hung up on the sport word. People think, oh, it's sport, it's going to be better, it's going to make me a better driver, it's going to be faster. No, it won't. The touring is the one to go for on the roads. Now, the state of the UK roads right now is simply diabolical. There are potholes everywhere, lots of undulations, and if you've got the sport version of suspension on the UK roads, you're going to be like this. Oh, my back! And also, you're going to be skipping over all the bumps. Now, if you look at this quality Oscar-winning diagram animation I've put together to outline the problem, sport suspension will be bouncing over undulations and bumps in the road, of which there are a lot in the UK. Just look at that here. And if you've got the touring setup with better damping, more forgiving damping, it's going to be kind of hugging those undulations a little bit better and keeping control of the car at a higher level than if you had sport. If you're one of the 20% of folk, probably, this is just my estimates, that's going to be taking your car on the track, yeah, get sport. Just do it. Only way to go, really, if you're going to be tracking it all the time. If you're on the road, definitely go touring. There's two versions of tyres available. I think the Goodyear Eagle F1 and the Michelin Cup Sport 2s, Pilot Cup 2s, I think, yeah, those, which are going to be very, very soft and again, kind of more orientated towards track. So you probably want the Eagles and touring. Now, this car here is the 570S. Two variants of that, the S and the GT. I've got the S because it was what was available. I've been in a GT, driven that, and it is brilliant. And if I had the choice of getting it all over again, I'd go GT. GT, we know, is 15% softer in terms of the damping than the S version. And for the UK roads, it is absolutely perfect. I love it. That's not to say this is a bad car. I mean, it's a great car. But the suspension technology that you're going to be getting in the Emira is fantastic. Now there's two core brands that go into the suspension there, so Ibark springs and Bilstein dampers. Bilstein dampers synonymous with probably being the best in the world, and they're just, the ride is going to be very, very good, but sport is going to be just that little bit too firm. Back in the day when Lotus made the Elise, the CEO at the time, a guy called Jean-Marc Gall, a French guy, he said there should be no touring setup available at all. It just should not exist. So the Lotus guys, the engineers, gave him an Elise for the week and said, what did you think of it? He said, yeah, I loved it. And then they told him afterwards, well, that's got the touring suspension on it. And from there on after, the touring suspension option was maintained. So the other thing is, you know, potential regret. If you go for sport and it's too, you find it just too firm and too crashy for the road, you're gonna be stuck with it. That's it. Unless you want to go for an expensive swap out, you're stuck with that suspension. Remember, it's not adjustable. If you go touring, I can't ever see anyone saying on the road, you know what, I wish it was that little bit firmer. I just don't see that happening. I think if you go touring, you are going to be very, very impressed, very pleased with your car, the versatility of it as well. So just think about that. I'm urging you not to go sport just because you think it's going to be sportier and better. We're talking a Lotus Emira here. Touring is still going to be very sporty and very special. Absolutely. So just bear that in mind when you're choosing sport or touring for your Emira. And if you have gone sport and you can change it to touring because you're going to be using it on the roads, with your config, I'd probably do that if you can still, potentially. So just think about that, do consider it. I really wanted to touch on that today because I think it's an important topic, coming from a car that is, you know, quite firm in its ride anyway. At least this one's adjustable, the Emira isn't. Just some food for thought there, so do consider that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this helped you out at all. Very much appreciated. Catch you soon and see you on the next one. Bye for now.